All right, thank you for visiting Pulse of the Day. And today we're going to be talking about the death of Bobbi Kristina and how a lot of people are thinking that the death of Bobbi Kristina is very, very, very similar to her mother. And they are thinking that maybe Bobbi Kristina was assisted with her death. So we're going to be checking out this clip and we're going to be listening to what Bobby Brown has to say about not only his daughter's death, but his ex-wife's death as well. Let's check out this clip.
History to me, the same thing that happened to my daughter is what happened to Whitney. There's only one person that was around both occasions.
You won't say his name. Nick Gordon is who you're referring to.
I won't say his name.
Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown's daughter, Bobbi Kristina Brown, has been gone a long time. But according to her dad, the incidents surrounding her death still don't make sense. Well, just like several other people, Bobby has talked on numerous occasions to date about how Chrissy's ex, Nick Gordon, may have been responsible not just for her death, but for Whitney's death as well.
I want the world to know that Bobbi Kristina did not die from the bathtub incident.
What?
That's not what killed Bobbi Kristina.
What killed Bobbi Kristina?
Bobbi Kristina was starved to death.
Do you approach that?
He knows what happened. I don't know what happened that night, but he does.
You walk through that door and you see her much like you saw Whitney.
It was literally, it was a nightmare all over again.
But allegedly, there's so much more to the story. And word on the street is that Chrissy knew what happened to her mom. And allegedly, the eerie similarities to their deaths was planned. Honey, I also know that I have heard a lot about how she was present in many of her mom's arguments with people like Clive.
And then it's Grammy
happened.
time.
That happened.
And her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
So what exactly did Chrissy know about her mom's death? Was it related to her own death? Let's get right into it. Okay, just for a bit of background, Kristina grew up in front of cameras and she appeared beside Whitney a few times, like during an interview with Barbara Walters at 8 months old. When she was 1, she also appeared on stage at the 1994 American Music Awards when her mother accepted an award. Now, when her mom died, Chrissy was one of the people who suffered the most, and she was even hospitalized after suffering.
She looks really skinny right there. So maybe there's something to this starving scenario.
From a breakdown after her mother's body was found in her Beverly Hills hotel room. But she put on a brave face for her funeral and memorial services in the days that followed. Whitney's death actually put Chrissy more in the spotlight, and although her family attempted to protect her, she eventually went on to join and subsequently leave a Tyler Perry series. She appeared at the Billboard Music Awards and even did an interview with Oprah, among other appearances in the public. Sadly, she didn't live long enough to continue with her mom's legacy, because on January 31st, 2015, Chrissy was found unresponsive in the Georgia home she shared with Nick Gordon, discovered unconscious in a bathtub just as her mother had died, and she died in hospice on July 26, 2015. Her death was ruled a combination of drowning and intoxication by the Fulton County Medical Examiner, and the toxicology report found marijuana, alcohol, a Coca-Cola related substance, sedative and anti-anxiety medications, and morphine in her system. The medical examiner's office, however, was unable to determine if her death was intentional or accidental. They just said at the time, the underlying cause of death is the condition which starts the downhill course of events leading to death, and in this case is the immersion associated with intoxication. The pneumonia and encephalopathy are more immediate causes which resulted from the immersion and drug. Of course, Bobbi Kristina's death drew striking parallels to her mother's, who died on February 11th, 2012, at 48 years old. She was also found unresponsive and submerged in the bathtub inside of the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills. Based on reports, Whitney's death was due to accidental drowning in a bathtub, and toxicology results revealed a small amount of Coca-Cola in Whitney's body. Apparently, there were also traces of Xanax and other substances in her system. So official reports said that it was possible that Whitney possibly had a heart attack that may have been triggered by hardening of the arteries that caused her to lose consciousness and drown. But we also know that the coroner did not find any evidence of a cardiac episode or event. So that story about Whitney having a heart attack was probably just a cover-up. In fact, the coroner only noted that Whitney had mild heart disease and some blocking of an artery like a lot of smokers do. So the idea that she fell into the tub as a result of a heart attack was at least not established by the autopsy report. As for the Coca-Cola levels, the coroner said it seemed she used some, but not a whole lot, so it could not have caused her death. So the question people have always had is what caused her to become submerged in that tub of scalding water to the point that she could not get herself out. In addition, something else that came up after Whitney's death was that there wasn't enough water in her lungs to prove that she had died from drowning, which makes it very likely that someone placed her in the bathtub, and she did not pass out while she was in it. And you know whose names have always come up when it comes to Whitney's questionable death? Chrissy's ex, Nick Gordon, and Ray J.
Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the dealer in, but she was sober, right? But he let the dealer in that gave her the shot. Leola Brown, Bobby Brown's sister, has said on several occasions that she was beaten. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat up.
The thing is, Ray J was the last person to have a public relationship with Whitney, but they were really not steady, and they never admitted that they were an item. Now, on the day Whitney died, Ray J said he was not at the party, but there have been several accounts claiming that he lied about not being around. In fact, one of the accounts from people who were there was that Brandy was asking for her brother at the party. So why would she be asking for him if he was not there in the first place? People also started giving Ray J the side eye when Raffles and Ray J were hurrying out of the back with Brandy Burnside that same evening. Yet Raffles clearly never liked Ray, so why was he sort of helping him sneak out of the place? Then to make matters more interesting, Leola Brown, the sister of Whitney's ex-husband Bobby Brown, said shortly after Whitney's death that Ray J had been helping Whitney get access to whatever she was using, and he was probably the one who gave her a bad bag.
I saw Ray J coming out of the hotel, hiding his head, being pushed into the car. Why? I looked and I said, why is he hiding? Why is he hiding his face? He's always trying to show his face when he's around Whitney. Why now? Why are you trying to hide now, Ray J? And I put it all together. When I first heard she passed away, I said, my God, somebody gave her a bad bag. Yes, I promise you, that was the first thing that came out of my mouth. And then I saw Ray J. And it all added up.
It also doesn't help that before Whitney died, she slipped Ray J's sister Brandy a note when she crashed an E-interview with Brandy, Monica, and Clyde.
I saw that.
Well, to this day, Brandy still refuses to reveal the contents of that note. In fact, in another E-interview, she said, I'm gonna just not say what it was and keep it to myself for my own personal reasons. But a lot of people believe that Whitney might have given the note to Brandy in front of the cameras on purpose, like in case something happened to her. Actually, once she passed the note, she kept giving Monica and Clive attention so that Brandy had enough time to read it. I mean, it just doesn't make sense that Whitney Houston interrupted a recorded interview just to say hi while she was wet yet fully clothed to just pass a note to Brandy and kiss her like that at the end. And if you listen carefully, you'll hear her say, I nearly drowned today. In addition, people also noted that Brandy talks about everything good. When it's bad, she won't. And that can only mean that that note was bad, and her face said it all when Whitney gave it to her. Anywho, people have always said that they believe that Kristina found out what really happened to her mom, and there have been reports claiming that she even had receipts. In fact, based on what Jaguar revealed, she was present when Whitney was having her fights with where she died.
And then it's Grammy time, and her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
Now, there have been theories suggesting that Clive may have been involved with Whitney's death. And if Kristina was present during some...
Yeah, Clyde is a little messy, okay, because he did Phyllis Hyman pretty bad as well. He's pretty messy.
Some of the arguments they had, best believe that she must have heard things she probably was not supposed to hear. And Whitney just happened to die at a Clive party. Child, it doesn't make sense. Well, the circumstances surrounding Chrissy's death and the similarities to her mom's death have also never made sense, especially when it comes to what was going on between her and Nick Gordon.
This is a young man who swears to God that he loves my niece, but yet you drag her up the steps, you pull her by her hair. You pull her by her hair and you punch her in the face.
What?
And you knock 2 of her teeth out of her mouth?
Apparently, Chrissy was planning on making a trip to LA to celebrate her dad's birthday with their family. It was also set to become a permanent move to be closer to Bobbi and focus on her career. Based on reports, she was excited to continue her mother's legacy, and she was looking forward to moving closer to her father and having a relationship with him. But Nick didn't want her close to anyone because he knew that as soon as Chrissy left, that everything would have been done for him. Reportedly, she was even supposed to meet up with a friend the same day she was found in that tub to let her friend know that Nick wasn't the man she thought he was. Then, according to what people close to her said, the day she wanted to tell Nick about her plans, she was under the influence and upset when Nick returned from being out. Then they argued and Nick attacked her and then left her alone in the room. And that's why she had allegedly. Remember, shortly after Kristina was moved to hospice care, her court-appointed conservator also filed a complaint against Nick Gordon to pursue justice on her behalf. In the complaint, he was accused of causing substantial bodily harm and stealing money by pretending to be Bobbi Kristina's husband. In fact, the conservator later filed an amended complaint accusing him of causing Bobbi Kristina's wrongful death. The complaint claimed that the pair had a heated argument, which led Nick Gordon to give Bobbi Kristina a toxic cocktail that left her unconscious before he put her face down in the bathtub. Well, according to Bobby Brown, Nick Gordon was present during both Whitney's and Chrissy's death. And according to what he believes, he may have been involved in both deaths. But Nick denied the allegations and even said that Chrissy's father, Bobby Brown, was the one to blame for Chrissy's death. Unfortunately, Nick also passed on a few years later. So there's really no one who can say for certain what really led to the death of Whitney and Chrissy. And
What do y'all think? You think Nick was involved? Put it in the comments.
If the deaths were related and planned. Guys, I don't know if Nick was responsible for both deaths or if somebody more powerful put him up to it. But what I can say is that both Whitney's and Chrissy's deaths never made sense to anyone. I mean, don't...